Hey, good evening. I recently had the opportunity to go on a ski trip for the Christmas and holiday vacations to Breckenridge, Colorado. I am an avid snowboarding person. I love to snowboard. I love to be outside. And so, out of all the places that I've gone, and been able to snowboard and participate outside, I've actually never had the opportunity to go to Breckenridge, Colorado. So this year, I was able to spend some time there with my family and really kind of take in a good portion of the city and do some snowboarding and really kind of get a feel for what Breckenridge was all about. We did go over the Christmas holiday, so we arrived on Christmas Eve and stayed until the 28th of December. So we stayed a decent amount of time, but we stayed there right during a peak time period. I can tell you that it was a very busy time period to go. Obviously, with Christmas and Christmas Eve and the vacationing and everybody's traveling schedule around that time, it was a very busy place, and the traffic was high. Every restaurant that we went had at least an hour minimum wait. Getting in and out of the shuttling services took time. Traffic in town was backed up. The actual ski lifts themselves were backed up with just a lot of people in the area and on the mountain in the city of Breckenridge as a whole. So overall, if I go back to Breckenridge, I will probably avoid going at that peak time, but it was a very busy time period to go. We stayed at the DoubleTree Hotel, which is very close to, if you're looking at the mountain, at the base of the mountain, facing the mountain, it's close to the bottom left-hand corner of the mountain there, is where the DoubleTree is located. It's immediately across the street from two ski lifts. You have what they're referring to as the Quicksilver lift, and then I believe the Beaver Run lift. And you have a nice bar there that is associated with the Beaver Run area, or the Beaver Run lift as well. So literally you can walk out of the front steps of the DoubleTree, walk across the street, walk a very short area, put on your skis and snowboards, and either ski down to Quicksilver or walk a little further up to the Beaver Run lifts. From those two lifts, you could pretty much access the entire mountain of Breckenridge. I was impressed. The mountain itself is very large. The amenities on the mountain of Breckenridge are first class. So you have a lot of trails, number one. When we went, we had just got fresh snow, so we had some fresh powder, nice conditions the first day that we skied. The base was a little bit lower, so they were having to make some snow, and I think overall there was about 80% of the mountain open, 75% or so of the mountain that was open, with intentions on opening the other trails within the few short days of us being there. So overall, there was a lot of trails to choose from. The overall mountain is very big. I stayed on the blue slopes for the majority of what I was doing, and I can say that there was a whole lot of green and blues to choose from. I felt like there was a great selection of trails that were beginner or intermediate. The blues themselves seemed to be a little bit easier, in my opinion, than some of the other blues that I've skied at other locations, such as like Jackson Hole, or even places like Monarch in Colorado as well. I feel like the blues at some of the other locations I've been to have been a little bit more difficult. The blues at Breckenridge to me kind of felt like greens for the most part, but nonetheless, it was great. The options and the trails, the skiing itself was very good. Like I said, we got there at a day when it did snow and it was fresh powder, and so the conditions felt really good and ideal. So overall, the DoubleTree location was fabulous. The hotel itself was decent. We're talking 3.5 stars kind of thing. I think the hotel is probably fairly old. It has nice sized rooms. It was clean. I can tell you the location is fantastic. It does offer a free shuttle service, and that shuttle service goes all around town, multiple locations. The the hotel itself does have a valet ski service so that you could leave your snowboards and ski equipment down at the bottom of the entryway where the parking garage is, and they will check those items and store them for you overnight, so it's quick, easy access. So that's a really nice feature that they offer for free. The hotel itself, the lobby seems extremely small. The actual configuration of the elevators and that whole setup is very odd. You enter through a small lobby, and then you have multiple wings where you literally were walking, 100 yards or so to a one bay elevator that is extremely slow, and it seems very inefficient and maybe an older design in the way the hotel was laid out. But it is laid out on the side of a mountain, so understandably there has to be some adjustments in the way it's designed because of that. But the overall hotel itself was a great location, like I've mentioned. Inside and the layout was not so great. It only had one restaurant and one kind of cafe, and these were not the greatest of choices. It was obviously better than nothing, with it being very cold and a short walking distance to other stores. It made it very convenient for getting items there at the hotel or having dinner. But it wasn't the greatest of options, and it was overpriced tourist type of pricing you could expect for overpriced coffees and sandwiches and buffet dinners at the restaurants type of thing. But again, it was the DoubleTree. It was a good location and offered great amenities and things for if you're skiing and snowboarding. So if you're looking for a reasonably priced hotel, that is a good location. That is something I would suggest that you look into. With regards to Breckenridge, the town itself seemed to offer a lot of conveniences. It had the shuttle services that would take you throughout the different stops throughout the town of Breckenridge. You had a lot of things that were in walking distances to the town themselves. And then you also had a gondola that was an enclosed gondola that will take you from kind of the main center point of Breckenridge up to a portion of the resort that's located on the mountain itself. And so it will actually take you to, it's about a 30-minute, 25-minute gondola ride or so there and back. And it will take you there. It is free of charge, so you do not need to buy a ski lift pass to access that free gondola that I'm referring to, and that is the main gondola, referred to as the gondola. The other ones are really referred to as the ski lifts associated with the skiing, and they would be the traditional open gondolas. The gondola that I'm referring to is nicer because it is enclosed. It is a little bit warmer, and so you have a little bit more security, if you will, for somebody that maybe isn't used to getting on the traditional ski lift type of gondolas. But with all that being said, it was a great experience. The negatives were is that it was very crowded, and that was obviously due to the time of the year that we went, and the location and our experience with the hotel and that location of the hotel was very good. The experience of the skiing conditions and amenities that it had specifically for skiing, tourists, it was first class. The actual price to ski was pretty pricey. We were paying about $159 plus tax to buy a full day ski pass. They do offer half day passes as well. The full day was $159 plus tax, and it started at 8:30 and lasted until 4. And the half day went from 12 to noon. And I believe there was a difference of about $15 or $20 between a half day and a full day. It was a pretty minimal difference in price. Overall, the price to ski I thought was expensive. I believe that they are now operated by Vail Resorts. Some of the receipts and communications I've received from my experience there have been from Vail Resorts. So it appears that Breckenridge is now being operated by Vail, and the pricing and the environment felt like you were in Vail or Aspen. So it was a good experience. Certainly, if we do go back, we will not be going back at that peak time period. But I will be very honest with you, there are a lot of other places that I have not been able to ski and enjoy that I would like to go to before I go back to Breckenridge. So hopefully this review is helpful for you if you're thinking about going to Breckenridge or just kind of evaluating a family vacation. Hopefully it helps you just have a different perspective and give you some insight to a regular person's experience. So again, thank you for watching. And if you're interested in other videos that pertain to travel and leisure and investments and lifestyles and all these cool things, then follow my channel and stay tuned. Thank you.